Hi there, welcome to My Other's Keeper. And today we're going to talk about stigma. What is stigma? Is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing? Is it one of those things that just exist? Is it something we should get rid of? Well, stigma, by definition, is a negative portrayal of a certain group or person. So basically, it's like prejudice. You can be racist, you could be ageist, you could be sexist, you could be all sorts of things, but that's a prejudice. Stigma is the negative attitude attached to that prejudice. So, why bother talking about stigma? Stigma, like I said, it's a negative attitude. So, yeah, I think it should be gotten rid of. I think it's really important to get rid of the stigma of mental illness, of alcoholism, which is another form of mental illness, or addiction, which is another form of mental illness, or all sorts of things are just a variety of stigmas that need to be destroyed, really. I talk with the Schizophrenia Society of Saskatchewan on my journey with mental health in order to educate people and to break the stigma of somebody who has a mental illness, who has a mental illness that will never go away. It's affecting basically all of my life. It is one of those things that I have to live with, my family lives with, my friends live with, and everybody knows that I am just a regular person. In fact, I'm more normal than a lot of people. So, stigma, where does it come from? Is it always what outsiders say about you? Well, no, it's not. Frequently, stigma is self stigma. It's the way you feel about something. And that brings us the shame that we have, the shame that we need to get around and get rid of. Um, do you feel ashamed to have an addiction? Do you feel ashamed to have an illness, mental illness, physical illness, whatever? I have diabetes and I have bipolar type 2. They're both the same. They're both chemical differences in my body that I cannot change, but that do need to be treated by medication. Speaking of medication, how much is too much medication? That can be a stigma too. Well, they're not as sick as them because they are only on 2 medications, they're on 18. Or they're not as sick as them because they're on this medication and they're on this medication, and this one is more severe. That's a whole pile of bull. It really is. Medication is there to sort out whatever the complicating factors of whatever the chemical imbalance is in your brain. Some of us have different imbalances. So I'm just going to show you, I'm not going to show you the names of the medications, but this is the medication. Each one of these is a day of the week. My morning, my nighttime. My breakfast is basically a handful of pills. My bedtime snack, similar handful of pills. Some of them are for mental illness. Some of them are for physical illness, but it doesn't matter. They're all just medication. They all just help my body to work as a body. And that's the way I think we need to view the stigma around mental illness, sobriety, addiction of any sort, and treatment. My treatment involves psychiatrists, psychologists, doctor, pharmacists, probably other people, but especially my family and especially my friends. Can you imagine if that stigma extended to them? How terrible life would be? So we all need to work together to destroy stigma. We need to work together to destroy the stigma of maybe not necessarily what we have, but what our friend has, of an illness, of a disorder, of whatever. I'm going to be talking to people coming up with traumatic brain injuries. There's a stigma around that. I'm going to be talking to people coming up who have autism or have family members who have autism. I'm going to be talking about that. You'll notice I don't say I'm going to be talking to a traumatic brain injury. or I'm not going to be talking to an autistic. It's a person with. By using people first verbiage or words, we can start to break that stigma just by doing the littlest things. If you have any more questions about how to break stigma or how to work toward breaking stigma, send me an email at myotherskeeper@gmail.com. Send me an email. I would love to talk to you further about how to break the stigma in whatever situation you find yourself. So, have an awesome day, and I'll see you next week.